January 10th, 2022 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. There is a quorum of the council present. Item number 2, Mr. Gene Anderson will deliver the invocation, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Hughes. Please rise.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, Father, acknowledging how helpless we are without you. And Father, we covet your strength and your power and your wisdom, and we just pray that you would give us these things and continue, Father, to watch over us and intervene, Father, to bless us and to help us prosper. We pray for our council tonight as they make decisions, Father, that affect our whole city. And Father, we pray for those who across our nation, Father, have been impacted by one tragedy or disaster, Father, after another. And we just ask that you would comfort them and provide for them. For we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Item number 4A is recognition of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Paris City Council wishes to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which will be celebrated January 17th this year. The holiday celebrates the birthday, life, and achievements of Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King is known for his contribution to the American Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. His most famous work is his I Have a Dream speech, delivered in 1963, in which he spoke of his dream of a United States that is void of segregation and racism. Item number B is recognition of the City Clerk's Department Vital Statistics Unit for earning the 5-star 2021 Exemplary Award issued by the Texas Department of State Health Services. Mr. Path, do you have a presentation?
I do. Skylar, if you can join me. Janice, please, too. All right. Trying to see where y'all can see me here, but we are very proud of our City Clerk Department and what they've achieved here recently. As you all know, the Clerk Department does vital records as death and birth records. And so whenever you are trying to find your certificates and everything, you can come to our local office and pick that up. Very few local governments actually do that service in Texas. We do provide that. It's a great service. We utilize a lot. And so, but it is also monitored by the state, and they do have regulations for that, because for timing, surveys, procedures, training, and so forth. And we are very pleased to see that we were given not just the 5-star award, but the 5-star exemplary award, which is the best in the state you can get. And looking at the requirements here, there is training requirements. There are self-assessment survey requirements, but also too, to be just 5-star, you have to turn in 96% of your birth records within one business day. To be 5-star exemplary, you have to do turn in within one business day 100% of the time. And so we have achieved that this last year, where we were submitting records within one business day 100% of the time. As well, we had to, for security purposes, we have to achieve a 98% score or better year-round. So Ms. Unger is our lead in that area, so she takes care of this every single day, and she's been doing an outstanding job. And Janice has been doing an outstanding job guiding her and helping her when she can. And so there's definitely an awesome team here. So we have been given this award here, the 5-star exemplary award for this service here. And they'll be proudly displaying it in their office over there. So, excellent job.
Congratulations, Skylar. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Item 4C is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for citizens forum. If necessary, the city council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on the agenda. The public forum is now open. If there is anyone who wishes to address the council, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, the citizens forum is now closed. The consent agenda is next on the agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the council, with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Does any member wish to remove an item from the agenda? I would like to remove item number 9, just to ask staff a few questions, please. Mr. Path, as I understand this, employees with COVID don't have to use their personal sick leave. They're reimbursed by the federal taxpayers. Is that correct?
Well, not the federal taxpayers. As over the last year, it'd be through our local funds, like last year. We're creating a new leave available to them as we did last year.
Okay.
So, in addition to their sick leave pool, those who have not used the original 80 hours that they had when the COVID first came, we just continue that on. We've been tracking that, and then if they still have available hours, we would give them that additional leave. When that's out, then it's sick leave.
Okay.
So-
Then does the city have a policy about employees' sick leave at the end of the year or when they leave the city?
We do, yes. We have a policy regarding sick leave. I can't quote it to you today, but whenever they do leave the city, sick leave I don't remember off the top of my head here, but it is taken account for.
Okay, so we buy it back, essentially?
Parts of it, yes. It depends on how many hours you have. I think you stop accruing at a certain point. I don't think you don't get it all back. I think there's just a certain level you get. I have to go back and review that. Let's chance you to
Okay.
speak to that. So.
Yeah. When you leave employment, you do not get sick leave back, but we have an incentive program. If you go all year and you have used less than 5 days, you have to have a certain number of hours on bank, and I can't remember what the number is, but it's an incentive, then you can sell back up to 10 working days sick leave. So it's an incentive, but if you're sick, of course, you're going to be, out. But we vacation time accrued, and there's 8 days. And we reimburse the employee or when they leave, if they leave employment for that, but not sick days.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Anderson?
I just want to add 2 things to that. If that sick leave is sold back, it's sold at a discounted rate, not at full pay rate. Okay. The other thing is civil service employees, in this case police and fire, if they leave employment, they're entitled to be paid for up to 90 days at whatever their current rate is if they have that much accumulated. That's a civil service requirement to do that.
Okay, because civil service works differently.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Well, I just had a question because I hate to see the same sick day paid 2 different times. But I'm not interested in not approving it, but I just wanted to clarify that it looks from afar like they're being paid twice.
They would not be being paid twice.
Just be paid for basically for one hour worked just via the FFCRA leave instead of their sick leave.
Okay.
When they run out of that, then they have to use sick leave.
Okay,
So.
thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, any other items pulled? All right, if not, is there a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda?
I make. Moved. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Very good. Regular agenda number 11. Pursuant to Chapter 552 of the Texas Government Code, the public is hereby given notice that the City Council of the City of Paris, Texas, will convene into regular session on the 10th day of January 2022 at 5:30 p.m. to receive information from Allison, Bass, and McGee, LLP, regarding the redistricting of City Council member districts. After the hearing, the City Council will take action to authorize publication of notice for a public hearing for consideration and possible action regarding one or more alternative plans for the redistricting of the City Council districts. The City Council reserves the right to take any and all appropriate actions regarding the redistricting of the City of Paris political boundaries, including the acceptance of new boundaries for the city districts, modification of any boundaries, and/or tabling the pending proposals for later consideration or action. Mr. Path, would you like to introduce Mr. Bass?
Yes, this is a continuation of our redistricting process, and so you had a workshop in early December to review boundaries. Mr. Bob Bass is here tonight to discuss next steps in this process here, and I will turn it over to Mr. Bass now.
Thank you, and welcome to Paris.
It's always good to be in Paris. As Mr. Path has indicated, we have worked in workshops over this item, and we've considered some of the how the population is distributed in the city, the imbalance that currently exists in the city, and the obligation to redraw boundaries. The next steps would be to set a date for a final public hearing and to adopt at that time a plan. Once that plan is approved by this council, digital files will be submitted to the county election administrator for them to accommodate your city wards in any county election precincts. So all of that is work that's done after you make that final decision. So if it would now be appropriate to entertain a motion to set that date for public hearing, be advised that you should do that before February the 7th. Any questions?
Any questions of Mr. Bass? Any discussion? You have something else to contribute, Mr.
I should have mentioned this earlier, but just to put it out there publicly, we have posted the map on our website. We did that about a month ago. We advertise through social media, so if you visit the Paris website, we have a GIS map that you can utilize. You can also see the current boundaries versus the new boundaries and see how they change via that map. So we also have it posted on the board over here. This is the new proposed map, but you can go on our website and view the GIS map showing the new boundaries.
Thank you. Any discussion of Plan B? I'll hear a motion to accept Plan B.
Well, do we have to set the date as well?
What we need on this item is to provide direction to staff to go ahead and publish the notice in the paper and on our website to hold a public hearing on January the 24th.
All right. Is there a motion to choose January 24th to finalize this?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Go ahead.
Second, Mr. Savage, thank you. All those in favor of January 24th as the date to finalize, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Item number 12, conduct a public hearing, discuss and adopt a resolution reauthorizing industrial tax abatement guidelines and criteria. Staff?
Hello. This is something we do every 2 years in January to be able to continue to participate in tax abatements. These are the industrial tax abatements as opposed to the residential tax abatements. I've prepared a resolution for you that simply readopts as they previously existed without any amendment. In order to do this, because the state law has changed in the last few years, we have to have a public hearing on the guidelines, and after that, I would recommend that you approve the resolution.
All right, thank you. I will now open the public hearing and ask that anyone who wishes to come forward and speak in support or opposition of this item, please state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Council, is there any discussion?
I had one question.
Okay.
Maureen, is there anything, obviously, you head up the EDC, is there anything that you would want to change or have anything amended or anything? I figured I didn't get a chance to ask you previously, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, we have not seen anything on there that needs to be amended. And obviously, as Economic Development Organization, the abatement is a critical tool in our ability to recruit and retain businesses here. So we obviously are in support of continuing this useful tool.
Great, thank you. Thanks for all you do. All right, any other questions or discussion? I'll hear a motion to adopt the resolution reauthorizing industrial tax abatement guidelines and criteria.
So moved.
All right, all those, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Please, all opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 13, conduct a public hearing, discuss and adopt a resolution approving the 5-in-5 Housing Infill Development Program, guidelines, criteria, and application form. Mr. Mack.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. It is my honor to be here this evening to present this program to the City Council that staff has been working on for several months on this program, which that work also included a number of you, and I appreciate all of your time and spending discussion hours with me to better understand and develop this program ideas as we've moved forward on it. I would also like to acknowledge my appreciation for our other taxing entity partners in this community for taking time to meet with both myself and Mr. Path during this process, though that it can move forward smoothly through the requirements and that we have to have as a part of this program in moving it forward and allowing some of the numerous tax foreclosure parcels to be disposed of in a manner that helps to bring these things back on the tax roll. For several, so at this point, over the past couple of decades, the City of Paris has been vigilant in its efforts to remove dilapidated and dangerous structures left abandoned, unattended, or vacant due to fire. This has resulted in 1,000 house structures being removed from the community over this period of time. These vacant lots present an opportunity to have new dwellings constructed on them where existing streets and utilities are available to support these existing neighborhoods. Unfortunately, some of our past practices, that hasn't been the case. It's resulted in larger lots and has not worked to help replace our missing housing stock. It's also not helped to further promote the preservation of neighborhoods where such preservation may have been neglected over time. We do have this opportunity now before us to turn that around by an infusion of new, good quality, decent homes that will be of modest cost, because the majority of a lot of these properties within the area that we'll discuss are smaller in size as compared with newer development that has spread further away from the downtown area. One of the things that I think our city manager and I herald as a part of this effort is that we've tried to put a program together that's flexible. It's not fraught with a lot of restrictions and guidelines, especially in the area of income guidelines. There are other programs that are out there available in the state that make those requirements as a part of it, and we're familiar with those and we continue to work with those, and we appreciate the fact that they are available. They would be in addition to what we're talking about doing here. So that's not a part of what this is. We're talking about creating homes, whether it be owner-occupied, renter-occupied, be it a single-family home, a duplex, triplex, quad, or an apartment building. The goal here is to support economic growth in this community by providing decent, affordable places for people to live to support our workforce needs in this community. So with that, I want to draw attention to the fact that we have on our website, available with great support of the team that has worked with me on this project, we have a map showing the boundaries of where this program would be eligible. I didn't want to use too much of the technology in that for tonight, so, really, essentially, this is the program eligibility area. Within this area, we've identified nearly 300 potential tax foreclosure properties that we have on the books because the value of the liens and the demolition of homes over this time, cleanup and abatement of these lots has, and plus the back taxes have exceeded the value of the property. So it's a problem, and it's one that we're looking for creative ways to solve this need. The thing that about this guideline and this eligibility area is that if they're currently owned by private property owners and they are current on taxes, they're still eligible under this program. So we are looking to address the area that has the opportunity for infilling within our community. So within this area, we have identified 4 main incentives to increase the housing stock and to, as our city manager likes to refer to, we were looking for ways to rapidly move the dial, create new homes, new roofs, and new doors for folks to move into. The first is the tax forfeit lots, that we are looking for a low-cost program that whereby once they do not sell on the public tax foreclosure process, they would be then offered through a program here for $1 as the city becomes trustee to the property once all the back taxes and the liens are struck. The second is that, and of course I don't want to shortcut that, that's an involved process. Our tax attorney, Mr. Tracy Pounders, is here with us tonight, who will be assisting us with that. We have a process in order to develop a no warranty deed. It's called a tax deed. He will help us prepare those once we're able to get these programs, those lots into the program and developers willing to build new dwelling units on these properties. The second will be a tax abatement. The city currently has a tax abatement policy that applies to the entire city limits. We are a reinvestment zone as designated under state law. This area is a more concentrated area, and we are seeking a higher level of benefit. This would be a 100% tax abatement of the city's property taxes over a 5-year period. We believe that in order to this program to be even more successful, we believe that the opportunity exists for the county board to make a decision to come along with us in this program. We had an opportunity with the mayor and one of our council member Knox this morning, along with our city manager and our tax attorney, myself. We were at the county board, made that presentation. There seemed to be receptivity by the county board to that, so we are very excited about the positive response that we got from them on that this morning. They'll have to adopt their own policy, and hopefully it's something that they will come in alignment with us on. The third incentive that we are looking at is reduced building plan review and permit fees. It would be a basic requirement of building 5 dwelling units within 5 years on 1 or more parcels. If they achieve that, we're proposing a 50% discount on those fees. If they achieve building 10 or more dwelling units within a contract period time, whether it's 1 or more contracts that they would enter into with the city council, they'd get a 75% discount on those fees. And for 20 more dwelling units, we're talking about waiving all those fees 100%. So again, incentivizing more performance for further discounted incentives for construction. The last one is the water and sewer labor tap fees, and those would follow that same formula on the number of dwelling units that are constructed. So these are a number of additional specifics that are built into the program. We've prepared these guidelines, which also includes the application permit. We have a resolution that you would consider tonight, which would adopt these as exhibits within that resolution. And the city staff certainly at this point is recommending your approval this evening. And I believe we have advertised for a public hearing as a part of this.
have a public hearing because it is tax abatement guidelines.
And this 5 and 5 could be offered to any other developer that met the criteria, correct?
So that in the instance where it is private property, not a tax abatement lot, they would be eligible for 3 of the 4 incentives.
As long as their private property is in the designated area for 5 on 5.
Correct, correct. If we do have tax parcels that become foreclosed on outside of the boundary area, the guidelines are written such that they would still also be eligible.
So if you had I'm sorry, developer other than Essential Housing Corp. LLC, if you had Joe Smith Housing LLC wanted to come do the same thing, this program's open for them as well?
It's open for anybody that works in the community or is from outside the community.
Perfect.
I'd like to just add that I felt the commissioners and Judge Bell were very receptive, and in fact, Judge Bell contributed some things, an idea to require that they, when possible, buy building equipment and building materials from Paris. So I think it's a win-win.
Is this the time for us to ask questions, or do we need to do a public hearing first?
Yeah.
Which one first?
Let's have the public hearing, and because somebody may have something else to contribute. I'll now open the public hearing and ask that anyone who wishes to come forward and speak in support or opposition of this item, please state your name and address for the record.
James Alcorn, 870 41st Southeastern Parish. I have a question. It's talking about tax abatements. This is for the city taxes only. It does not include school or county.
We're working with the county. That's what we met with them today, and they will put it on a future agenda, I believe January 24th, to discuss. And I believe that our staff has met with Dr. Anglin or spoken with her. Is that correct? Okay, so we're working on that. We're the first one to approve it, but we're hoping that the other 2 taxing and the Paris ISD, you've spoken to the superintendent?
Yes, the Dr. Jones, the PISD, and Dr. England, PJC, they would not be part of the tax abatement process. The school does not have the same options under state law as the city and the county does, and PJC typically does not do abatement, so it would just be a county and city tax abatement. The school and the PJC would still be collecting their taxes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed your name.
James Alcorn. I apologize for the question. I can't, everything rolls around. I wear hearing aids and it's hard to hear.
I do too, I understand.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Any other? Mr. Hughes?
How you doing, Ms. Council, Mayor Pro Tem? Derek Hughes, 627 5th Street Northeast. I'm with Paris Urban Development, and we've been working close with Mr. Andrew. We're looking forward to this process. Me and my business partners in the back, just looking to put rooftops in Paris. So we want to thank y'all and hope y'all pass this tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, the public hearing is now closed. Any discussion, council?
Well, a couple of my questions have already been answered. You know, one of the questions that was, you know, kind of floating around the community is someone had their own properties that fit inside the 5-on-5 boundaries. Could they use that property? And Mr. Mack has already answered that. And then Mr. Paff just answered the question about the ISDs. That was a question that was really brought to me today. Can the ISDs and the college, PJC, get involved in it? And so he's answered that. One question that I do have, so are there any, we know that there's a few ramifications if somebody gets involved in the program and don't follow through with it, but everybody listening in might not understand that, so we didn't really go over that a lot. So what are the ramifications? Because, you might have a lot of people applying, and then if you have somebody that applies for this property and picks lots in our community, and then they don't follow through with it, then those are lots that somebody that may have had genuine concern for the community and wanted to build, it's taking away lots from them. So what parameters do we have in place, first of all, before it even gets to the council for approval? Are the parameters in place to kind of see if somebody's serious about getting involved in this, or are they just coming up because you basically have free lots and we're going to try to do it? I guess a good intentions clause.
So I'll try to answer that. Yes, we will certainly work with them up front, let them know that they are entering into a legal contract with the city council, with the city of Paris to do this. There will be a performance requirement in order to be eligible for these abatements, for taxes, for the lots to be provided to them for $1 in cost. They will need to perform. They will need to build and construct 5 dwelling units within 5 years. If they do not do so, there will be provision that's in place that would be a part of the deed transfer to them of the property that would have a built-in clause of reversion. If they don't build on that property within that specified contract period, it would automatically come back to the city to go back into the pool of the program unless they request an extension for justifiable cause. Mm-hmm. Staff would work with the builder on that justifiable cause, and certainly I don't believe the council would unduly withhold extension for a just cause, but it would have to be approved back by the council. In the event that they do a portion of the building, but not all of it, they would be still available for the same extension if they just had significant reason why they couldn't build. But it could come up where they do further due diligence, and based upon working with the staff for unforeseen conditions that might be some problem with being able to build on the lot, that we found some stormwater pipe under there we didn't know was there. It would cause impact on the city's stormwater system. Well, they would be able to come back, amend that agreement, and select another property to take its place. So also we have the opportunity for homes that are completed, that the tax abatements can be reassigned to the new homeowner for the remaining period of that abatement, so that they'll be able to take advantage of that as a new homeowner.
Yeah. So, and then, but initially, before it even comes to the council, or before y'all invest a lot of time in, is there anything in place, do you have to have any type of plans or something that show that you're serious about going forward with this? Is there anything in place like that?
Well, the application requires that they provide a site plan of what they want to construct on the lot. An example that will come on your next agenda item, you've got a product sample of exterior views of the home. So they've got to provide that as a part of the original application.
Mm-hmm. I think what he's maybe asking is maybe financial vetting, make sure they're financially capable. We just don't want to give 5 lots to somebody and they can't perform.
Well, I guess I was beating around the bush, but that's really where I was.
I feel that's what I was thinking too.
Well, I think we would need to treat everybody fairly and equitably if they have the wherewithal to perform. They've got some track record. Yes, we would look into that. We would find out what their past experience is like, and certainly we would vet some of that. Legally, I don't know how we would tell them no.
I think
I'm going to turn that question over to the city attorney.
If you could just make them provide a letter from a bank or a credit institution, or if they have cash from their banker can say, yeah, they have the ability to use this many dollars. And I mean, it's not gonna be hard to figure out the project size, obviously, but I would put that in my criteria probably.
We can certainly put that in our criteria. That would, you would adopt the criteria subject to that being changed in the criteria, what you would do tonight.
All you have to do is just ask them for a letter of credit from a lending institution, whether that be a loan or they have the cash. That way you don't have to get into looking at credit scores and all that other stuff.
Well, and then it would eliminate, looking at the clawbacks that you put in, at end of 5 years and they didn't do anything with it, then here we go back and say, okay, you owe taxes for 5 years on that. And then you have all these issues again. It's kind of like the revolving door. You go back to the same problem that we already have with some of these properties. So that's why I was asking that question. You don't want to, at the end of 5 years on some of the properties. I'm sure most of the people that will get these properties that will do right, but you might have some that after 5 years it's still sitting there, and then you go back and you say you owe me for 5 years of taxes.
Well, there wouldn't probably be any increase much if they're not developed. The main increase in your taxes comes, in a tax abatement, comes after the improvements.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're contemplating is you would owe the taxes on all the lots. So if you'd improved 3 of them, you'd owe all the taxes that were abated on those improved lots. So, that's on the inside of it. It doesn't help you up front, but it is, they go in knowing what the potential consequences are.
Could we pass the amendment, the resolution as it is tonight, and then add an amendment in that order, in order to have that letter from a banker or something like that?
Yeah, and what I would suggest is you go ahead and pass the resolution with the caveat that city staff is going to add that provision.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think the way it's written,
Account-
from what I read, that you could go back and add some things. I think you could negotiate some more things in, so it's written that way. But one more question. Existing property within the boundaries that was dilapidated or whatever, would that qualify? Could somebody go in and take that property, fix it back up, so you know what I'm talking about, would that qualify?
Are you talking about a renovation of an existing structure?
Yes.
This is written for new construction.
Okay.
That discussion, the city manager and I had that discussion. We felt that it may be something we would be open to discussing in the future. But we figured we better learn how to walk before we run.
I just thought that needed to be clarified, because I think when we met, that was an option.
It was something that I was questioning as potentially something we want to consider. I reviewed that again with Grayson. He may want to offer additional comment, but that's not anticipated as a part of the current guidelines.
Okay.
I had a comment to make or ask for clarification. I've got the impression somewhere that if a homeowner were to make significant improvements on their property, that it would qualify for a form of abatement from the taxes, the appraisal value before the improvements and the appraisal value after the improvements. There was a abatement of the improvement of taxes for a certain period of time. Is that correct?
Well, and that's not set up under the guidelines as we have them now, but that property owner would be eligible for the residential tax abatement that is available for the whole city.
Correct. That's not part of this 5 and 5, but what Mr. Savage was referring to, I think this might apply to where he was going with his comments. I'm not sure. I might have misunderstood you, sir.
So what?
I may have misunderstood you. But if a homeowner makes significant improvements on their property, their dilapidated property, that the taxes would be abated for the improvements. And that is a current, isn't that a current incentive
Yeah,
within
we
our
have,
community?
we have a current residential incentive policy. It's actually, I think it's a de-escalating a tax abatement program that's available for anyone who, if you want to renovate your structure and you do have an increase in value, that is actually a current, long-standing policy we've had. This is a new, separate policy that we're trying to create to encourage new development. And echo Mr. Mack said, we thought the best thing to do is to start with a new development, then in time, once we get things figured out, shaken out, if we want to revisit renovations, we can then at that time do that. And so, but we want to start with new construction.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification.
Yeah.
I had a couple questions. Just for the record, for clarification purposes, is there a minimum amount that someone has to build that property up to? Let's just say, for example, you take a lot somewhere in that boundary, you have to build up to $100,000 worth of investment. Anything like that? Is there anything, for the record, is there anything like that the interested buyer or developer would have to go by?
That would fall back to our zoning requirements. So in the SF1, the rural 1.5 acre lots, the minimum square footage of the house has to be livable space 1,500. If you go into the SF2, the 7,500 square foot lot area, now we're down to a minimum lot livable square footage of 1,200 square feet. And if you're in the SF3, 6,000 square foot minimum lot size, that minimum is 1,000.
So that's for square footage, but not
Right.
for a monetary value, correct?
We wouldn't, this would not be regulated based on minimum value of improvements. We would just have those base minimum requirements that would apply to any other construction, whether it was in this program or not.
Question two.
However, the application does ask them to give a projected value of the total improvements.
Okay, perfect. Second question I have is, I know, and we sat down and talked about this, it's a first come, first served basis. How will this program be, and I don't know if it's changed since the last time we talked, but how will this program be marketed to the public so everyone can take full advantage of it?
Well, the first thing in terms of marketing it to the public is that we're adopting the guidelines tonight. Once adopted, this is going to go up on our website. What I've been doing is working with people in advance to fill up a list of interested properties. And so that is the part where we will continue to develop that list. That will be the first in the door is the first on the list, the first ranked priority. That is the only fair way that we could think of that doesn't single out or give preferential treatment to one individual or another. It's just based on how they come to us. Now, they may give us a list of their interest. What we're using that for is not to guarantee them that they're going to get those properties. What we're saying is that you are on the list when those properties, if they become tax forfeit, and all those taxes are struck off on the property, it is now eligible to go into the program. If they've identified that on their list as property that they're interested in building on, they will get the first call. But they will still have to decide based on what has transpired and now it has become available in the program, if they still want to proceed forward with submitting the application and actually entering into the agreement with the council for this program.
I have one last question. I was trying to think of the big picture of this program, which I think is a fantastic program. I'm in support of it. But I think we need to drive home one point. And I don't know if you guys have looked at this or not, or I don't know if you've got a formalized study on this, but I'm just curious, do you happen to know what the economic impact for our community would be projected? Obviously, you can't nail that down exact, you can't tack that down, but I'm just curious if you happen to have some sort of figure, if you guys have done any kind of programming to understand what that could look like.
I've given it some thought, and city manager may also want to comment. Right now, over the past 2 years, we are building new homes at a rate of about 2 dozen per year over the last 2 years. The economic potential impact, I believe, of this guideline, this program, may end up having the ability to quadruple those numbers. or as many as 5 times. We may increase that number of 25 to 100 or plus per year, just based on the type of interest and attraction I'm receiving based on interest in new construction. I believe part of this is going to be tempered by the increased cost in building materials. It's a reality that we're facing every day as a result of this pandemic, but it is our hope that some of that is starting to normalize back out and that it won't be a hindrance. I don't know, Grayson, do you have any further thoughts?
No, I mean, trying to think big picture, obviously, the closer people are to retail, the more likely they'll go to the store locally and purchase there. So there is that secondary impact that we hope to see. Paris has done very well in recent years through sales tax, because we are the local hub here, but the goal here is to add more doors. People can live in Paris, be closer to amenities, and for sales tax purposes there. Obviously, from property tax, we're giving out an abatement there, but again, this is money I would not have but for a house on there. Otherwise, I'd be, one, not collecting taxes and paying to mow the property for the next umpteen years. And so it's good to have that back on the roll with someone maintaining it with a nice structure on there. That could have the secondary effect of, once you start adding some nice looking homes, newer homes into an area that's been house has been removed, that has a way of kind of revitalizing the neighborhood a little bit. So maybe my neighbor and their neighbor had brand new houses. Maybe I should also paint my house a little bit, and so I can have that secondary or third effect there. So I see some. May not necessarily always direct. Here's money coming in, but you see a pride increase. You may see some people, local business seeing some improvement there from people living nearby. That's an improvement there. But yeah, obviously from a water standpoint, we would have some more customers there. Now, obviously, we're with our incentive there, it would take them many years to pay off what we're giving them for free. Because if you take your average water bill and if you subtract out the portion of that is just treatment of your water and so forth, and just look at the part that's for growth, it's going to take a long time to repay what we're giving away. But that's not the point, though. The point here is to get houses and doors out there.
Well, and housing our workforce.
Yes.
Is an economic development.
Yes.
Plus, Ms. Hammond.
Absolutely,
knows
yes.
that.
I know a lot of industries that they look for. Can we find employees and can they realistically work here and live here? And so having more doors and whether it be single family, multifamily, apartment complexes, that gives them more assurance that they will have employees locally and not driving an hour or so to get here. So, as Mr. Mack has said, and as I've been saying, as I talk to people, this is, I mean, for years and years, decades or so, people have been asking city, do something, fix the housing problem. And we're not saying this is going to fix it, but this is at least an attempt to try to move that dial, to move that needle there. It's something we want to try and see if it does work. If there are things to be changed, we'll change it. But this is our good faith, best effort to try to do something to make that impact that no one before us has really been able to accomplish.
Yeah, I think this is huge. I think people are really excited about it. So appreciate the hard work.
I'm particularly thrilled. I'm particularly thrilled about this. I think you guys have just done an admirable job, and I love the way you've thought outside the box. I love the way that you've included our code enforcement department, the building permitting department. You've included everybody, but more importantly, I'm so glad that you've included the builders in on this as well. And by building the partners that you have, it's just going to be a wonderful project, I think, for our community. So thank you so much.
I remember very poignantly, you may too, Ms. Knox, several years ago, a physical therapist in Paris spoke during the public forum. He was trying to hire another physical therapist or maybe an assistant, and coming from out of town, they could not find a place for him to live, and he lost that potential employee. And that's why the workforce housing is so important. Any further discussion?
I don't have any questions because Mr. Mack, you covered them in our meeting along with Councilwoman Stone. But I'm pretty excited about this program, as I mentioned to you before. The mayor, as you mentioned, the economic development it's just going to be a great process with Maureen, and we're trying to get factories and companies here, but we just don't have any place to house a lot of people. And we know that we have a housing shortage here in Paris, Texas. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it not only in my district, but as well as the other council members' districts as well. So Mr. Path, Mr. Mack, and the rest of your team, I commend you on putting this program together. I'm pretty amazed at it. When you log in on the computer and look at how you can direct your path through understanding that process, it's pretty amazing. So I'm excited about it for the city of Paris, and I'm looking forward to see ground broken in anybody's district. I just want to see it. And then
Got to start somewhere.
It'll be great for everyone. So I thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, I'll hear a motion to adopt the resolution approving the 5-in-5 housing infill development program.
I make a motion that we adopt a resolution approving the 5-in-5 housing infill development program, guidelines, criteria, and application form.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
Ms. Knox, thank you. I've had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Mack, item number 14, discuss and act on a resolution approving an economic development agreement and tax abatement agreement between the City of Paris and Essential Housing Corporation, LLC.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. The item immediately following this is an example of how much interest I believe there will be in this program. I've had the distinct pleasure and opportunity to meet and work with Mr. Mark McKinney, who is here with us this evening. I've asked him to step forward and make a presentation to you and introduce himself. But in the meantime, what we have before you this evening would be the very first agreement coming forward under these new adopted guidelines. Mr. McKinney is proposing to develop 7 city trustee properties located on Fitzhugh Avenue, and 3 of those front on Fitzhugh. The other 4 lots front on 10th Street, which is immediately east of Fitzhugh, just north of Martin Luther King Drive. And at this point, we have an agreement that has been drafted, prepared before you. There were subsequent edits to that document addressing some dialogue that Mr. McKinney and I had on Friday. This is all coming together very rapidly. We've addressed those, and we've had changes to that agreement that is ready for your approval this evening for him to enter into this program to construct 7 brand-new single-family homes. The recommendation that we have for you on this is that you provide approval of the resolution adopting this agreement. It is conditional on the other taxing entities agreeing on the low-cost lot sale of the $1. And we will work with Mr. Pounders to execute that. He will prepare the deeds as a part of the property transfer for us. And we are very excited to see this program get underway immediately. This doesn't need to go to foreclosure. That's occurred over 3 years ago, and we are anxious to see this program get underway. So I think with that, I'd like to invite Mr. McKinney to come up and present to you.
Welcome to Paris, Mr. McKinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. My name is Mark McKinney, 8409 Spectrum Drive, McKinney, Texas. A fourth-generation Texan, and I'm proud to say that. And we're seeing a lot of people that can't say that, but that's progress. So just to reiterate, I appreciate the opportunity here. Mr. Path and Mr. Mack and myself have been working since August on the outline of our agreement, but of course it had to be within the resolution which you guys just passed. So at this point, our purpose is to build 7 homes on Fitzhugh and Northeast 10th. I will tell you that I came to Paris 2.5 years ago to talk about the same thing, and I was talking to Bonham at the same time. And unfortunately, Bonham pulled their trigger first, and so we went there. I came back here this summer at the behest of Brian and David Glass, who are brokers here in town, who said, Mark, we saw what you did in Bonham, and we'd like to see what you can do over here, and I'd like you to meet the city manager and Andrew Mack, and so that's how this whole process started. We're a land development, and we have 3 divisions: land development, assisted living that we build and or purchase, and the third is affordable housing. I had a partner 4 or 5 years ago. We really wanted to get involved in affordable housing. We saw then that Texas was growing and that the housing market was getting a little crazy, and here it is now. I just saw a statistic Friday that prices increased in the DFW area by 20%, and the average price of a home in Dallas is $435,000. Now, when I was growing up in North Dallas, my parents bought a house for $16,000. I can't even buy a car for that anymore, and none of us can. But I will say that my partner and I decided that one of the biggest cost factors of construction is land. And I have a broker's license, and I've dealt in land selling to investors and into builders, so I can appreciate that. So what we decided to do was to go to some cities outside the Metroplex and say, hey, listen, what do you guys need? How can we work this out? And we started looking at the CAD, the appraisal district, and saw that there were a lot of lots that cities owned. You guys are one of those. And so we then approached the cities and said, hey, listen, if you guys can work some deal out for the lots, we'll come in here and build the houses. Not 50 or 60 at a time, but 5 or 6 infill lots. I think we have to be careful. I'm going to go on to a subject here. I think we have to be careful with absorption rates. I don't think, even though there is a housing shortage here, you can't dump 100 or 150 houses onto the market at the same time or within a few months period and expect them all to be absorbed. So I think, and that's what Mr. Mack and Mr. Path are well aware of. We certainly want to grow as fast as you can, but people you can't get ahead of the market. So that being said, when I talked to Mr. Mack, he said, well, I got 50 lots here, and I said, I'll take 7. And I'll take 7 and build those, and assuming that works, then I would like to get another 11 or 12 at the next sale and just keep rolling, because we think that we can get an absorption of 10 to 15 houses at a time. Now, your packet had the houses that we built in Bonham.
Yes.
These are 12 to 1,300 square foot homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a carport, not a garage. But they're very, finish out is nice, granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. We have 10-foot high ceilings, so when you walk in, there's a lot of volume. Even though the rooms are smaller, you feel like you're in a nice home. I will say that the response that we got, not only from the city inspectors in Bonham, but also from home inspectors that the new buyers hired to check out the house, and almost to a person, they said, you know what, you guys did a nice job here. It doesn't feel like a 1,200 square foot home. And that was the purpose. That was what we wanted. Because we've got, I always say this, we have a passion. We've got to get people into homes. And the area that we built in South Bonham, Powder Creek, is very similar to the area that we're building at Fitzhugh and Northeast 10th. Maybe it's a little rougher in Bonham because it used to be the big gang area and the big drug area. But after we built our homes and closed them last year, we're seeing people come in and do the same thing. So it does have an effect of regentrification, and that's really what you want. And I think, Mr. Mack and Mr. Pass said the same thing. Hey, listen, house next door is new. House across the street that Fred owns, it looks a little rough, and Fred says, maybe I'd like to get a new house, Maybe I'll put this thing on the market and generate a down payment and go with that. The other part is one of our partners is Capital Construction Company, and they also are a mortgage company out of Cedar Hill, Texas. And their passion is, and they've done a lot of first home buyer work. And when I told them that we were working on getting a tax abatement issue done, they said, that's terrific, because now someone with a lower income can afford to get into a home. So I'm going to applaud, Andrew and Grayson for what they've done, because this is the first city that's taken a strong step towards making this stuff work. And I will tell you, we've been to Justin, Sherman, Gainesville, Sanger, Denison, Paris, Forney, and Bonham. And this is the best program that any of those people, we've talked to the EDCs, and they're all for, hey, let's get some rooftops in here. Well, what can you do? Well, maybe we can give you $1,000. Well, that's not gonna work. So I don't know if, I say you saw the pictures of the homes, and we want to start 7 homes. Now, one of the issues was, and let's just get all this out in the open, was using local vendors. And I will tell you that I hired a local GC here, Robert Staples. He's going to be our project supervisor. And he came back here. He played football at Paris, and he told me today, I was having coffee with him, he said, my grandfather and my father and my uncle played high school football at Paris. High school. I said, well, you got a legacy going here, man. You better get your boy. And he said, oh, he's only 15 months old. I said, well, this is a start, But the point being that we, before Christmas, I came in here and spent a whole day, and Robert had local vendors lined up: cement, paint, wood, framing, and we spent a whole day getting bids from vendors. Some of them are good, and some of them are not so good. But that's the negotiation process. But I think that we've, Andrew and Grayson have addressed that if they're, like Mayor, as you said, if where it's possible, you want to use local, and we want to use local too. We want to become part of the community. So we'd certainly like to have this resolution approved, and we'd like to have essential housing as part of Paris. So, I'm sure you have questions.
Great presentation. I apologize that our technology isn't working, because I would love for the audience to be able to see the plan, the house plan, and the, I guess those are actual photographs, or
yes,
is that an
of the
architect?
homes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're, very well done.
Oh, thank you.
I examined the house plans very carefully, and, I think you're a proven entity.
Well,
So,
thank you. Thank you very
Any
much.
questions of Mr. McKinney?
Mr. Kenny, you have photos with you right now?
I'm sorry?
You have photos with you right now?
No, sir, I don't, because we were planning on having the big screen,
Yeah, they're in.
like
our
Cowboy
backup.
Stadium,
Yeah. So,
Sorry,
well,
but but however, I can certainly email them to you.
great.
Not a problem, yeah.
So, any other questions? All right. I'll hear a motion to, on this ordinance, to extend the mayor, I'm sorry, wrong one. I somehow turned 2 pages. All right. discuss and act on the resolution approving an economic development agreement and tax abatement agreement between the City of Paris and Essential Housing Corporation, LLC. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the 5 and 5 infill development agreement with Essential Housing Corporation, LLC.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Welcome to Paris, Mr. McKinney.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Item number 15, discuss and act on amendment to the hangar lease agreement for city-owned hangars. Staff, Mr. Strahan, Airport Manager.
Council. Okay, so this amendment's looking at two separate things here.
Can you
Talking
lift the microphone just a little bit? Thank you.
now, better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so this amendment's looking at two separate things, talking about the same thing. Paragraph 4 of our current city-owned T-hanger lease states the lease terms are going to be 7 years with an option to extend for 3 years. But if you look at the actual city code here in Paris, it's 10.04.006 section B, which covers the T-hanger rental. It actually states that all hangars shall be on a month-to-month basis. So you can kind of see the contradiction there. So this is to actually align both, the current city-owned T-hanger wording along with the city code here. So it's actually to approve the amendment on the lease hanger to reflect the lease term being a month-to-month rather than a 7-year with the additional 3-year option there. So if we're able to do this, it corrects both the T-hanger lease and then the T-hanger lease and the city code will be in agreement. So.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Strahan? All right. No discussion. I'll hear a motion to approve the amendment to the hangar lease agreement.
I'll make the motion to approve the hangar lease agreement.
Thank you, Ms. Knox. Second. Mr. Pankaj, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good evening. Item number 16, discuss and act on an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a solid waste collection permit to MJ Outdoors LLC pursuant to section 12.04.42D of the Code of Ordinances, and passage of this ordinance requires 5 affirmative votes. Ms. Ellis?
Okay, this company is in its second year of business. Mr. Berry recently purchased it, and he is asking to approve the ordinance so he can haul solid waste. And we have the application, we have the insurance requirement, everything's up to snuff on it. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Thank you. All right, any questions of Ms. Ellis? I'll hear a motion approving this ordinance.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Thank
All
you.
opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 17, discuss and act on an ordinance amending the City of Paris Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 3, Section 3.01.006, tethering of dogs, providing a repealer clauses, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. Chief, how are you?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. So this is basically a state law change for the unlawful restraint of dogs under the state code. And you guys have seen there's attached legislation to what you have. And it's basically protect dogs against unlawful and harmful restraint. So there's just a couple points I want to make just to clarify for the citizens, really, because the way it's worded, people might think that tethering of dogs is illegal, and that's not the case. That's not the purpose of the law. The purpose of this law is basically says that the dogs have to have adequate shelter. You can't use chains to tether a dog. You can't use choke chains. The dog has to have a collar. You can't put a chain around its neck and put a padlock on it. And the dog has to have access to drinking water, shelter, and it can't be left out in the elements. That's just a rough summary of the statute.
All right, any questions of Chief Salter? All right.
How are we going to enforce that, Chief?
Well, the good thing about this statute is, under the current law and current ordinance, we have to see, if we see a violation of something like that that's currently against the law, we have to give the owner 24 hours to correct the matter, and by the time, it's a back and forth situation with animal control, and then it's just a repetitive cycle. On this particular law, if the animal control officer or police officer sees a violation, they can cite the owner or the occupant at resident right there without the 24-hour period. It eliminates 24-hour period.
Any further questions? All right, I'll hear a motion to act on the ordinance amending the City of Paris Code of Ordinances, amending tethering of dogs.
I move that we amend City Ordinance 3.01.006 by reference, incorporating Chapter 821 of the Texas Health and Safety Code, Subchapter E, entitled Unlawful Restraint of Dog.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 17, discuss and act on an ordinance amending the City of Paris Code of Ordinances, ordinance of the City Council of the City of Paris, Texas, extending the mayor's declaration of local disaster for public health emergency and order dated March 19th, 2020, as extended by resolution number 2020-011, and most recently by ordinance number 2021-023 for an additional 90 days, making other findings and provisions related to the subject and declaring an effective date. Ms. Harris?
Here I am again, and we're doing this again. When we renewed this for 30 days last time, I think we were all hopeful maybe the worst was over, and then Omicron happened. So I've brought it back to you for another 90 days. I think it's in our best interest to continue that.
Any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to act on this ordinance for the mayor's declaration of disaster.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Second? Mr. Pankaj. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 19, discuss 2021 Charter Review Commission report, possibly make amendments and provide direction to staff. Mr. Path.
Yes, this is a continuation of your December council meeting. As you recall, just in summary, the City Council authorized Ordinance 2021-024, which commissioned the Charter Review Commission, CRC, to examine the charter and bring back amendments to the City Council for recommendation. Now, with that process, you would then review the recommendations from the CRC, either approve them all, approve some of them, approve none of them, make edits, add additional ones, edit what they've given you, basically take what they have and work from there. And then from there, if you do come to a decision to take them to the May election, you would then submit it for ballot language. We would then work with our legal counsel, a third-party legal counsel, to write the appropriate language for the ballot, and then we'd also have to mail out a copy of the language to all the registered voters in the parish. So that is in a nutshell the process there. So the goal, hopefully tonight, is to discuss at depth the edits that have been recommended. If you have any more edits tonight, would be a great time to do that. It is strongly recommended that we have this decided by at least the next council meeting, the 24th, if not tonight. That way we have appropriate time to be able to get this on the ballot. We have to print out booklets for all the registered voters, over 10,000 of them, as I understand, in Spanish and English. And so there's work to be done, hit the May election. So So with that, I don't know if you have a request for how to proceed, but what I thought I might do is just, we might just take each article together one by one, and then we can discuss as a body the edits proposed. If you have further edits, then we can then go to the next article, going from there. So, Articles 1 and 2, there were no recommended edits for the charter under those articles there. And so unless you have any requests for Articles 1 and 2, we'll go to Article 3.
Mr. Path?
Yep.
I went through this weekend and I spent reading the amendments and then reading the charter and making some comparisons.
Yep.
And I have a recommendation, but I don't know where in the charter my recommendation would fall.
Okay, yep.
And I know that there's some place, somewhere that, because when I put this on the agenda, somebody from city staff said, oh, well, that's great, because you have to do it within like every 20 years, a minimum of every 20 years. And we were due to have this Charter Review Commission. That's stated somewhere. I couldn't find it in the charter anywhere. I found where we, under committees and that kind of thing, but I didn't find anywhere. I would like to see something where it's easily stated, maybe in that category where that's listed, that we have a process so that we're not confused again in future years on who can serve, who can't serve, that kind of thing, what the duties of the committee are. And while I think this was a beautiful job that the review board did, and I think it's a beautiful job that what the city staff did, I still think that there needs to be somewhere in the charter something that says how to set up the committee and when to set up the committee, just for future ease in starting the process next time that this happens. And I don't know what article that falls under. I spent like I said, all weekend, and this was a hard read because it's not very interesting. I mean, it's interesting, but in short spurts, you know what I mean?
Just as a point of information, that is in Article 12
Okay.
and Section 149 about amending the charter.
Article 12 and Section
149.
149. Thank you so much.
So if I'm understanding the request, and this is obviously for council discussion as well to have, but I think the goal is kind of put in the charter of kind of okay, we're going to do it every, say, how many years? 5 years or so, or 10 years? Charter reviewed every 5 years, and it sounds like you want to specify this is who will serve on the charter review commission. We will appoint a charter review commission. I guess you're kind of want to take the process we did this year and kind of put it in writing in the charter.
Fine tune it a little bit because there was some confusion. It was suggested that there not be certain folks that served, but there wasn't. It wasn't stated as you can't. It wasn't definitely stated anywhere, and it created some confusion and maybe some bad feelings. So, to kind of streamline the process, I think it might be best to go ahead and state these are the individuals or outline the process. These are who shouldn't serve. And if we may even want to state why. I don't know, but I do believe that it should be stated in there somewhere so that it's a little more streamlined and there's not any misunderstandings.
I agree, but would it be okay with you since we now know
We
what
know where it
article
is, so we can
falls
wait
under,
till
that we go in order?
Yes, we can go
Okay.
to Article 12. So that's what I wanted. I want to know where it was so we
Okay.
could bring it up at that point. So thank you so
Yep.
much for that.
Sounds good.
Great. Go ahead with.
So we're now to Article
we're on
3.
Article 3.
Yes, Article 3, in short, there's one large item to be discussed tonight, and then some smaller ones. We had some, to touch the smaller ones real quick, we had some cleanup language reflecting the duties of the city manager as well as the current retirement TMRS program. Those are in there. But then the larger item, Article 3, which is probably the biggest recommended edit from the CRC is the mayor at large item. This is in Article 3. So if you have it with you, this is looking at sections 16, 17, 19. Yeah, 16, 17, and 19. These three sections here are where the CRC has recommended to create a mayor at large position. Now, this discussion requires a understanding of the 1976 court order that the city of Paris is currently under. And so that was a major guide as we tried to figure out how to edit this. So in short, the CRC recommended to have a mayor at large, voted on at large. Right now, we would maintain 7 districts because we're required to do that by the court order. Again, you cannot have 8 votes, and so it was decided we would have 7 council member votes plus a non-voting mayor. They would not have veto authority as well. We have language in here that sets out when in the election process which year they'd be voted on. So currently we have 4 council members in one year, 3 in the other. So we put the mayor in that one with the 4 there. We also added language there to spell out in order to maintain some fairness between all the boards. If you are on the current council and you announce you're going to run for mayor, you are now no longer in the council. You have to run for mayor because in Texas you cannot run for 2 offices at the same time. So those the 3 districts there, they have the unfair position to where I have to either choose running for council or running for mayor, whereas the other districts, I can get on the first year and then run for the mayor the second year. If I lose, I'm still in the council. So that's not very fair. So we created a clause there that we thought would create some fairness there to where if you announce to be either on council or on mayor, you are no longer the position you're in there. Mixed in with all that is also some language about attendance. The CRC recommended having, if you miss more than 3 consecutive meetings, you are now basically off the council. So that language was added in here as well. But that is a major part of the mayor at large. Again, I also talked about how some language in here was to amend in Section 21 the duties of the manager. Right now, the current language is the council will create the departments, but you also create the divisions in there. That's kind of been the duty of the manager to where I create the divisional duties. Once you create the department, police, and I handle the working there below that. Then lastly, the TMRS language there, a lot of that language there was outdated, and so this is to mirror current practice retirement program and streamline it. So I imagine there's discussion on the mayor at large. So I will turn over to the council to either ask questions or discuss that portion there.
Well, I think the first question I would be concerned about is Ms. Harris and the legal issue of doing this. Would you share with us the latest information, please?
Sure. In order to change our charter to provide for a mayor at large, again, we go back to this 1976 court order from the Federal District Court that was concerned that at-large positions, whether it be council members or mayor, diluted minority voting strength. So we would have to then go seek approval from the court to modify that order to allow us to do that. That could take weeks or months or a couple of years. It just depends on, how fast we can get something filed and how quickly the federal docket moves and reaches us. I will tell you that I don't see any way under God's green earth that we could get it done for a May 2022 election. So you would be looking at, if you want to do that, you have a couple of options. You have the option to deny it altogether, to say you don't want to do it. You have the option to say, yes, we're interested in doing this, but we're looking at a election in 2024 because you can only amend the charter every 2 years. Or, you could postpone all of it for 2 years. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. We haven't done a charter amendment in quite some time, and, that 5-year provision, but that's something you could do. So the mayor at large is, what we would have to prove is that circumstances are enough different in 2022 than they were in 1976, that a mayor at large would not dilute minority voting strength. And that's going to be census information, it's going to be voter information, that's not an uncomplicated thing to do. I mean, there will be quite a bit of work going into to shoulder that burden.
Questions of Ms. Harris or discussion?
That was my question, so let's answer.
I'm sorry.
That was my question.
Okay.
Do you think that the fact that it's not a voting position would have an impact?
It could,
I mean, I would see how, I understand the intent of the 1976 federal court order.
Mhm.
Understand that and appreciate it.
Mhm.
But if we went to them and we want a position that's basically a figurehead position, they just would this individual preside over the council meetings?
Correct.
But they wouldn't be allowed to vote. It would be the.
Except in the case of a tie, if you didn't have all members present. That would be something that the court can consider. I don't think it changes the fact that we have to get it approved.
As long as we still have our single-member districts.
That would be the hope.
That's where the power, I mean, really, the
That would-
voting power is there, and the governing of the body comes from.
And that would be part of the legal argument.
From the people, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll say this just as part of a discussion topic. I sit on a board where we have a court order appointing us to be able to run an election where it is tooth and nail for that election, but you want to win in that top position because you get that voting right. And in this case, I could see that being that case I understand that it's no voting right technically, but in the case of a tie, that's where that importance comes in, and so that court order would really reflect that.
Well,
That's the only thing that from
Sure.
experience on.
And we
mine.
can't ever undermine the influence
Right.
that our mayor would have
Yeah.
on the citizenry and the council as well. So, I mean, it's not that it's a totally powerless position, but it wouldn't be, I think the true power maybe might come with the actual vote, so.
Yeah, there is, even when you're not a voting member, if you are the elected mayor on behalf of the citizens, there is that power of persuasion that
Sure.
comes with this. And there's also political persuasion, political pressure that comes with this. So the power, the position, yes, while it does not vote, it doesn't have that defined authority, the position is a position of authority. And so that does come with it. Now, where that would stand on a legal argument, I don't know. And so, because yes, you are correct, legally, they can't vote unless in a case of a tie. And so, but I know, and I can say from my position being city manager, having worked with many council members in my career, even though individual council members don't have authority over me, there's still power of persuasion there that I have to constantly weigh, and as I do my duties there. So I've worked with some very strong-minded councilors in my career, and so in the past, so it can influence things.
I guess that's where my question comes in there is, I was trying to play this out, you make a great point in terms of the mayor kind of being, I guess, more of a figurehead, if you will, to conduct the meeting. But I guess, where is the interplay between the city manager and the mayor, right? And I think that's something that I have a question with, because that's a very important deviation to make. You've got to make sure that, because now that you have an elected mayor, potentially, now you've got to see all the options there, and then people, constituents and citizens are then like, well, don't you have more power over the city manager? Well, no, technically you don't. So that's why I want to make sure and see how does that play out?
Yeah, I think in reality, practically speaking, as a city manager, I would treat them as an eighth member of the council as I do my duties, and so I would listen to them as well as much as I listen to any of you, even though knowing that they can't vote on the matter. I mean, vote me out of office kind of a thing, but still, power of persuasion, I would still listen to them because they do speak because obviously they were elected on behalf of the people. There's a voice there I need to listen to, so I would listen to them as I would. So I would have 8 voices I'm listening to instead of just 7.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Ms. Harris, as if this goes to a federal court, is there a cost? We would have to hire an attorney?
Yes.
That sort of thing?
Yeah, I would need help with that.
Yeah. My son we lost was a federal prosecutor, and his cases moved painfully slowly.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the case. Some courts have rocket dockets. I haven't heard that about the ones in Sherman, but Yeah, I mean, it could take some time, and there will be a cost associated with it.
Ms. Harris, are our single-member voting districts protected under this 1976 federal court order? So there could never be any chance that all the city council positions would go to just being general election?
Yeah, that's.
We are protected.
You've got to, under this order, have to have the seven single member districts.
Yeah, the order created the 7 districts.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's the order itself, so.
Okay. But that can't be, that this process isn't going to open the door for this to ever become anything other than single-member voting districts, right?
Well, I suppose somebody could take that issue up at another time. As far as I'm concerned, first of all, I don't think a request to do at-large elections for all council members, I don't think we would get that past the court.
Okay, good. We don't need to.
But unless I'm told otherwise, that would not be a question we would take to the court.
So, first of all, I'd like to say I appreciate the Charter Review Committee, the people that volunteered their time to serve on it, and they did a wonderful job. However, this portion I disagree with wholeheartedly. First of all, because just listening to the conversation just now, y'all have made the case of how important the mayor's position is. All of you just made the case. A non-voting mayor position, but it's very important, has influence. So with the position, it should be open to everyone, first of all. So if we entered into this agreement, we would go totally against the 1976 ruling, because that 1976 ruling is what allowed the majority of this council to be minority. So it's working. If you want to look at a test case or an experiment, you see right now today it's working. So if you go to that mayor at large, because we have 72% Caucasian in Paris, Texas, you have 20% black, you have less than 4% Hispanic and a couple, groups together. So you would ensure that no minority would ever get that important position, that influential position that we just talked about. You would almost ensure that a minority would not ever achieve that mayor's position again in Paris, Texas. And right now, if you look at the way the council is set up, there's a good chance that a minority could be mayor soon. But, so we would take this thing away. And then how could you, in doing that, how could you prove that you're making conditions better than the ruling in 1976? You're actually taking it back. You would be taking it back. And what I think, and I'm no lawyer, Stephanie would know more about this than me, I think you would open yourself up for lawsuits, because the balance as far as that important position of mayor, like right now, everybody's vote, holds as much of a value as it can. But when you take that away and say just make it a general mayor position, then you put the balance into 72%. I mean, the strength in the 72%, as simple as that. So you would almost ensure that you would never have another minority mayor. And you brought up a good point. What if you did that for what if they say later on, people say later on, well, hey, why don't we change it to where we just vote for council at large? Then you're doing the same thing. The council would never look like it looks today because of 72% versus if you combined everybody else, 30% or 28%. So it would never be right, and I don't think it would pass any court, and this is just me. I stand on equality. I like for things to be fair, or at least, equitable. So I don't see how anybody that stands on civil rights or equality could even support this. I don't see how anybody that thinks fair-minded would support this. I appreciate what the thought process, but it would take Paris, Texas back to 1976. And I don't think we should go back. We should move forward.
I'm just afraid that it would open the door for whole citywide election for all the council members, because I know the people who helped work on this back in 1976. I mean, they're no longer alive, but they worked really hard on this so that our council can look like this today. And I just think that, I'd like to know, or I don't know, I read the minutes and I kind of have it's interesting. If you read the minutes, you'll see some of the discussion on this and who voted for it and who voted against it. It's very interesting because we had a very diverse charter review commission too. And there was only one person that voted against this. Everybody else voted for it. And I think that's just real interesting. And I wish that, you know, maybe we can have some dialogue with some of them about this issue, not everything else, because obviously this isn't going to go right now.
That's what's surprising to me. That's when I said that was surprising.
I saw that.
No.
It's just real. So anyway.
Well, I serve as mayor who gets to vote. And there are some votes you'd like to say, I don't have to vote, because there's some hard ones. But I would not be affected by this. I mean, this wouldn't come to pass before May of 2023, and Ms. Knox and I will be retiring at that time.
Oh, can I say this, Mayor? And I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
But I don't care if I'm on the council or not next year, or the year after, or year after. It affects me because it would take us back.
Yeah.
And the council wouldn't look like this again, possibly, but the mayor position would never look like this, in my opinion. So I don't care. I live in Paris, Texas, so I care because I live in Paris, not that I'm serving on the council if I'm mayor or council member. I care because it's not right.
Right.
So, and it's not fair, and it would take us totally back. And I'm like Councilman Knox, what should I say? Council Lady Knox, but Councilwoman Knox. Hey, I don't understand. I just don't understand the vote. I really don't. So
Well, I agree with you, Mr. Savage. I don't want people to think I'm against it, because I wouldn't want to run as mayor, but at large. But I wouldn't run for mayor at large, so, because you're taking on a financial and strenuous job if you run at large. And so I would like to call a vote that we not consider a mayor at large.
I think this is not an action item, but
Staff,
if you have
recommendation.
a recommendation, a consensus that you do or do not want this to go forward, that's the direction to staff.
Okay. Discussion on that?
I will say this, I think you make a great point, and I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. You make an amazing point, but I would really like to see what that charter review committee, what they're thinking, what their thought process was, because I think that's really important to understand what they went through on that. And especially the dissenting vote, I would love to hear their viewpoint, but also some of those that actually voted for it, because I think that would be an interesting scenario. I mean, I hate to pull something off where the majority had voted on that. I want to understand what their thought process is. Just my 2 cents on it. I mean,
did they understand the court ruling at the time of the vote?
Did they?
Did they understand it?
We hadn't gotten that clarification from Monty Akers.
Right, and we went over initially the fact that there was that order, and that, you know, I was looking to find out whether or not this change would require an amendment of the court order. We got that final word from our outside counsel after they had voted. They had been told to go ahead and make their decision, not worry about the legalities of it, but go ahead and make the decision based on what they wanted, without regard to that, and we would sort it out later.
So that might explain why. I guarantee you, if they had understood the legalities of it, I guarantee you the vote wouldn't have been the same.
I have a note that says each amendment that is pulled and council decides to not place on the ballot, I should call for a vote.
Okay.
Is that correct, Ms. Ellis?
Those are just notes, recommended notes that I sent to you that you asked.
Okay,
That's fine, too, yeah.
all right. Do I hear a vote to not move forward with this amendment to the charter?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Second, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Motion and a second to not carry forth the mayor-at-large election. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No? Same sign? All right.
Are there any no's, Renee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion carries 6-1. I have, under that same article, item B, the attendance requirement. I support language similar to what our boards and commissions are held to, is a 75% attendance within a year. And what the Charter Review Committee suggested was you can't miss 3 meetings, more than 3 meetings in a row. But I feel like you would be able to miss 3 meetings, come back for 1 meeting, and then you could miss 3 more. Now, if we had 20 meetings a year, we have more than that, but you'd have to attend 16 meetings. 16 meetings in a year doesn't seem like too big a commitment to ask of a council member. So, you want to give us any of your input, Mr. Path?
No,
Or council?
just that, yes. Currently, the recommended language from the CRC is to attend 3 consecutive regular meetings, but you are correct. A person could use that, be gone for 3, attend 1, be gone for 3, attend 1, so that is definitely a possibility. So if the city council would like to make an overall annual requirement, you're going to be here for 50%, 75%, whatever, we can most certainly change that language to reflect some along those lines.
And I think that we should provide for an instance where a serious illness would cause somebody to miss more than that, and they would ask to be excused, and the council could decide to do that. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but I think just in general, if you're not committed to, under normal circumstances, to attending 75% of the meetings, are you going to just put a damper on this?
No, I'm absolutely not. I'm just going to say that you could have, 75% of the meetings unless otherwise excused by council.
Okay,
That could be that
I'll go with
language.
all right. Discussion?
Easy.
All right.
If you want, I guess, to keep the pattern going, I guess, do we want to make a motion for that, so we have that official?
All right. Do I have a motion to amend the attendance requirement to must attend 75% in a year, probably from May when you're elected to the next April?
So moved.
Great, thank you, Mr. Pilgrim.
Unless if it's excused.
Unless
Yeah.
it's excused.
Just want to make sure that
Amend that.
Yes,
I move to
absolutely.
amend that as well, to add to Ms. Portugal's motion to add
Unless
Unless if it's
excused.
excused.
excused absences.
Thank you, Mr. Pilgrim.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to change the language. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Path?
So back to the prior topic, so what we will do is we will go back through the section 16, 17, and 19 and undo the green and red that pertains to the mayor-at-large part. So there are some pieces there that are about qualifications. There's a piece there about the mayor pro tem part. That would all go back to the way it was before. So basically take it all back to the original, to the current right now. So we will work on that.
Thank you, staff.
Then otherwise, I will keep rolling, and so anything else in Article 3 regarding any other item, whether it's the mayor, council, attendance, or the other topics in this section, in this article? All right. Article 4, there was some cleanup language here regarding the city manager duties, as well as, on the page here. That was it, city manager duties. And so there's some language there. Again, current practice for the city manager is once the council creates the departments, the divisions, the duties would fall on the city manager. That's currently practice right now, so this edit would mirror current practice. Any edits in Article 4? Article 5.
Council? Okay.
Article 5. Let me pull this sheet out here. Where'd it go? Okay. Article 5, this is some cleanup language on the budget here. Again, mirroring current practices on how we go about making documents available online, as well as some cleanup language. There's some language in here that we determined to be kind of redundant language in here for budget hearings and so forth. We also gave us the option there to option whenever you're balancing the budget to use reserves. That's a practice that we've been using. Yes, any edits on, and also too, there's also one here, there's that famous one that everyone always remembers, an entity that no longer exists that we don't report to. And so no point in having them in the charter when they've not been in existence for decades. So any edits in Article 5 regarding the budget?
I don't think so.
Article 6, this is a near rewrite. I think it actually is a complete rewrite. Working with our bond counsel, they actually provided us language here to mirror state law. And again, state has stepped in and kind of guided us on what we can and cannot do for bonded indebtedness and seeking out bonds. And so a lot of our language here was redundant. It was actually not applicable anymore. So our legal counsel gave us some excellent language that condensed it all and said we're basically going to follow state laws. That when we're working with bond counsel, they're going to do that anyways, and so we might as well mirror that. And so this cleans that up. So any questions on Article 6?
Yeah, let's follow state law.
It typically works, and so especially when they mandate it on us. So Article 7, this is financial administration. Again, some cleanup here, some language regarding the finance director position. We don't have a deputy finance director anymore, and we also do not assess our own taxes anymore. So that language was redundant and no longer practiced. Let's see here. Again, we do not assess taxes, so the LCAT does that. So that language is removed from here. Also, too, some critical language in here. We ran into this 2 years ago when we did our budget, my first year here. Under state law, we cannot issue loans locally unless we pay them off in 1 year. Well, there's no point in issuing a loan then. And so we were not able to do business locally with our local banks for long-term indebtedness because of our charter. So we had to end up getting a CO, a bond for that. Thankfully, I think a local bank did end up eventually buying that, but chances could we could have had a bank in Santa Fe or whatnot buying that. So the language we have in Section 7980 would change that to where we could then seek out a loan from a local bank or anywhere else and then pay it off over an amortization schedule, which is how loans work. So that edit is made in that section there. And then also we had some cleanup language for surety bonds. Again, we're just trying to practice current practice with our insurance company. So any questions on Article 7 or thoughts for additional edits or changes?
The Gene Anderson Memorial Article 7.
Yes, that was a big section that he spoke a lot on. So he did an excellent job of advising us on edits in that. Article 8, one edit was proposed. Again, we do not have a division of taxation. We don't. That's been not part of our practice. LCAD does that for us. So that is removing that language from Article 8 from tax administration.
Unbelievable that wasn't caught in a previous charter review.
Yeah, working with our consultant, he did a very thorough job. And so he did an excellent job going through the entire charter front and back. Article 9, no issues, and the CRC had no edits for the nomination election process. Article 10, initiative, referendum, and recall. There are some sections here kind of influenced by state law as well as practical requirements of the council. As the city council, there are certain powers that you need to retain to do your job as elected officials here. So we added some language to specify what is and is not appropriate for initiative and referendum.
And that was just clear as mud. I had to read it and read it.
Yeah, it was more of a confusing one.
Uh-huh.
Any suggestions on Article 10?
Nope.
Article 11 was probably our single most biggest edit. This is our franchise and public utilities. Again, just like the prior article we had a few articles ago, this is a complete rewrite of article. Again, state law has advanced over the last few years where they have actually kind of removed some of our authority to dictate certain franchises, rates, and so forth. And so our charter was unenforceable in many instances, and it was just so burdensome and so just bulky that we decided a complete rewrite is appropriate. So our consultant provided some language to the CRC to clean it all up and basically say we're going to follow state law once again. And so state law has specified how we can and cannot issue franchises. We are currently, you will recall a few meetings ago, we were approached by a fiber company, wanted to issue a franchise. We have another company has approached us here recently, so we go years without any. We have two suddenly. And so we have approached a legal firm out of Houston who specializes in franchise agreements in Texas, and they are helping us to devise an appropriate franchise agreement for both those entities. Again, we might as well follow state law since that's what's going to govern this, and so this would make those necessary changes to make it official.
Again, that was confusing to me because that edited part seemed to infer that we could control the amount of increase in your monthly bill and things like that I don't think we can do that.
No, state law allows in some instances, like we're part of TCAP, which is for power and gas. State law has, like I said, some instances where we can have a say when it comes to electrical and gas prices, but we work through a TCAP, a governing body which we approve with other entities to help us be a voice, so we can work with these large Encores, Atmoses, and everything like that. So, but telecommunication, there's not really that option for us that we're aware of, but so we might as well, again, follow state law. If the law allows us to do something, it's in our charter, we can do it. If it does not allow it, it's not there to where I can enforce it.
That's negotiated though, right? I mean, those if we were to have an increase through TCAP, we would have, obviously the council would have to vote on that, but that's a negotiated terms between.
Yeah, working with TCAP, there's actually a legal firm, it's like Lloyd Gosselink, and I can't remember the rest of it, they actually work on our behalf to negotiate that with the firms, Encore, I think working through the utility commission process, so, gee.
I think it's the cable company, they take away all of our rights to negotiate with them.
Yeah, on electricity and gas, we have the right to say no to a rate, and then TCAP usually hires a consultant to go in and examine the rate request. We almost always get it reduced, from what it was going to be, but if it's justified under the law, they're going to end up getting it, but we do have the right to examine it when we don't, say, for the cable franchise, for example.
It sounds like ultimately, as I understand, we can't just keep saying no and they get nothing, and so they eventually they can work through a process through the court and whether they can get something. So that's where Lloyd Gosling and then they help us come to a realistic conclusion without having that way avoiding litigation and everything. So ultimately, unfortunately, they're going to get something. So any suggestions on Article 11 for franchises? Again, this was taken from about 3,000 words to about 900 words.
Got to be an improvement.
Yes. Last, Article 12, this is general provisions. There were some edits here. First edit was just a cleanup there. Obviously, if we have any employees that have garnishments that need to be issued, this would allow that, which again, the state law, we have to allow that for any garnishments that's required there. Then also some cleanup language here to address gender in our charter. As you will see in the edits here, we try to use both his and her together, but our charter needs to be updated. But instead of bringing back every single situation in the charter for a ballot measure, this would basically say, okay, city attorney, on behalf of city, you will now go in and edit everywhere you see his, her, and make it gender neutral. So that would provide that cleanup there. And then also, too, given we're making some significant edits here, there'll be a renumbering requirement here. We're actually losing some sections here. So what this edit will do was will allow us to then, after the ballot, and then seeing which ones do and do not pass, we can then go through and renumber them, and so we have consecutive order numbers there. So with that, I think we can then talk about Mrs. Knox, your suggested edit there. This could be a section here to where we could basically look at how we handled this process this time around, and kind of put some language in the charter there to address, okay, this is how next time, council, is how we're going to do it. Is that what you're looking to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Maybe state, for example, the Charter Review Committee will be comprised of 15 members. Each council member will nominate 2 members for the charter. The mayor and mayor pro tem will together choose the 15th person. And then we need to say in there whether or not former city employees or former city council members can be served or not serve on the Charter Review Committee.
Yep.
And then,
I think also a word on alternates, of like the amount of alternates also, because I know we were kind of confused, and I didn't know, we don't know how many alternates there should be, but in that case, I know we had a lot of absences and tardiness, whatever, but just to battle that front too, just to have some good alternates in place.
Well, I think we definitely need alternates.
Yes.
Thank you for thinking of that. And I think we also need to give an attendance requirement for these board members, because we had one board member that attended one meeting for 30 minutes and left.
and that was the only meeting that they attended.
He attended one meeting for 30 minutes. And, to me, that name shouldn't be on the list as a contributing member. So, I don't know how you say that, but also Ms. Knox brought up earlier letting the members of the committee, along with staff, pick the nights they're going to meet.
Their meeting time perhaps,
Yeah.
and everything, because I know that we set that, we decided that, and told them, these are the nights you're going to meet. And let them have some input, because maybe that might have impacted attendance a little better. They could have discussed, I can't meet on this night, or I can meet on this night better. I think and let them have the same opportunity to set themselves up as the other committees and commissions that we have, because they set their own meeting times, and they set their own with the council of staff, of course, meeting times, and they select their chairman, they select all that kind of stuff.
I think also to add it, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
I think to also add the modality of like the option, right? Because nowadays when we look at like bylaw revisions and amendment, anything that we've got going on in terms of governing body literature, telecommunications, Zoom and all these things, Teams, that's an option also. And I think that needs to also be stated, not to be so meticulous, but if we're talking about it, we should also discuss in the future, hey, meetings can be held via teleconference or whatever the case may be. But I think that needs to be outlined in there also as an option. If the majority so votes on that, then you move forward.
I think some of that
Unless
is also
it's
addressed in
illegal.
state law, I think, as well. And so,
Yeah, and I don't know that we want to get too far off in the weeds into detail. There's going to be state law that determines, because it is a public meeting, it's subject to Open Meetings Act. So, there's only going to be certain circumstances where you can meet by Zoom or telephone. That's difficult. So it's mostly going to need to be in-person meetings.
but I think we can certainly draft some language for your consideration next meeting about the number of members, how the council will select those members, kind of mirroring what we did this time about the 2 members, the mayor pro tem, 15th member, addressing who can serve on that board, basically give the criteria to be a member on the CRC, somehow addressing alternates. They're probably just identifying the number of alternates we'll have under the same criteria as those. Attendance requirement, we probably just do mirror 75%. something like that, I suppose. Of course, I would encourage 100% for CRC, and this is a very critical. And this is not a lot of meetings, and so I think if you're going to try to be on there, unless you are sick or ill or something like that, but otherwise, if you're going to agree to be on this committee, this is only for a couple of months. So this is very, very, very important. So please attend. So something along those lines, and then we'll put some thought about how to kind of create their own schedule, and some of that I think is going to be kind of natural, and but we can try to put some like that. So yeah. And now, is there any request for how often this is to be done? They're to come together.
I would say a minimum of every 5 years.
Would that mean just a review every 5 years, or an actual like election every 5 years?
No, just a review.
I think it would. I would recommend just a review, and so not to mandate an election, because there may not be.
Right.
Yeah.
That was just. I just wanted to clarify. So you'd say like a review every 5 years, but then have the election potentially, if there are any amendments, 10 years? What's the
No.
current standing?
I think the election would just come naturally, and if they have any edits like they have today, election would come, and then the council ultimately decides if they're going to have election or not. Because you can have a meet and recommend a bunch of things that you do not approve, and there's no election. And so I think that would just come naturally, and but no, I think every 5 years that's fine. That's up to y'all. And
Got a budget question. So if that were the case, let's just say, if you have an election, let's just say you have your review in 5 years, and then you have an election, do we have to budget that election?
Yeah, this would actually be helpful. When I was running the budget for this year, I failed to take into account all the expense that we're going to have for this process here, for Mr. Edmonds' expense, and then particularly the election expense. And so it's going to be a pretty hefty. I wasn't aware we'd have to have 10,000 plus copies of some of this size. Now, if it was just one edit, it's pretty easy, a piece of paper, and put it in an envelope. But we're gonna have a booklet, so I did not take into account. So I think having like a set every 5 years, it allows myself, the city manager, and my successors to know, okay, this is coming around, so I better add another $20,000 to the budget, so to cover for all of our expenses.
Well, I mean, we could go more, 7 years or whatever the council wants, but I just think it had been, Ms. Ellis, how long? Other than one that.
It was 2007 and 2000, I think they met in 11, they met again, made no edits. So 2007 I think that was the big 70 edit one. Yeah.
I think you have a point, because, in the country we live in today, there's so many things that are ever evolving. And you never know what you need to amend, what you need to add, subtract. I think you're right in terms of revision, at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we can work to where it's at minimum 5 years, because a future council say, you know what, this has come up, we need to talk now. This won't be like a solid. It can only be every 5 years.
Right.
But
I think this was so thorough. I don't foresee in 5 years a great change, but if you waited 10, there would be. So I'd like for the city charter to be relevant, and that could change in 10 years. Certainly longer is just not enough.
Okay, I think I have what I need for that. So we'll need to bring back some language for that for you to review. This will be a little more of a bigger section than what we've already approved tonight, and so I can bring back some language for you to look at next council meeting.
Okay. Do we need to move forward with whether to have the election in May 2022 or November 2022?
Well, Janice, can you speak to that, or Stephanie, or?
You can go ahead, because we're going to have it translated into Spanish. And I'll go ahead and tell you all your next, I'm sorry.
Oh, so, yeah, because the audience
at your next council meeting, I'm bringing your general election, calling that general election and getting the contract with the Lamar County MPISD and North Lamar. So depending on how many more changes we make as far as the charter, we have to get it to the attorney to get the ballot language, and then to a translator, and then to the publisher to publish all the booklets.
Are we giving you enough time?
It's really going to be more about the people that we're hiring to get it done. And if we were calling it tonight, I'd say yes. I think we're pushing it to the wire. I just want y'all to know that,
By waiting till.
so that we're not failing.
By waiting till next time we meet is pushing it a little?
No, I'll have an answer. I can have an answer for you by then. I'm just letting you all know that we might not be able to meet all the deadlines for this election.
We might be able to at least get started on the ones that I think general
Yes.
consensus are good on, so
Mhm.
we can get started on those. We'll have to bring back some amended language at the next meeting, so.
On what they've asked for tonight, but after that, we don't have enough time to add anything else after next week.
Yeah.
Well, and just a thought, I
Oh,
don't
next
know,
time.
you tell me if I'm playing this out correctly or not, but, in May, we have 4 council seats that are up for reelection. At that point, the ones that are off cycle, their constituents may not be more inclined to go and vote, per se. So I think having it in a November election, would that mean that more people, I guess, that don't really have a
Yeah,
bone to
it-
pick for one candidate or the other
it-
would actually go out and vote for this actual dedicated election?
It's, I will tell you, it's hard to tell depending on what kind of elections there are in November.
And we'd also have to pay for an extra election, too.
We're gonna have to
This way,
pay-
we can just
Tie it in.
Yeah.
tie it into the
That's true.
council.
We're going to have to pay extra anyway,
Yeah,
in
but
addition
not
to
as
what we
much
have
as a
budgeted.
whole other election, though.
But
you
we'll
know
be in
what I mean?
another budget year. Do y'all keep that in mind? But either way, it's you all,
That's right.
you all decide what you want to do, and we'll try to make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to see it happen in May
Okay.
2022, if it's doable. But I don't want to put extra pressure on the staff.
Well, we'll talk to our legal counsel and see what they can accomplish and go from there. So I think the goal should be, obviously, since they just freshly did this, I think the goal, should be to try to get May 2022, because this is obviously fresh. The CRC just met on this. Obviously, they're knowledgeable, because I'm sure people are going to ask questions. They can go to CRC members and ask those questions while it's still fresh in their heads. So that'd be a good time to do it. But we will work with our third party to say, if they say it cannot be done, then it can be done. But I think we can get it done.
We'll start on it tomorrow.
Yep.
Do I need a motion to direct staff to prepare?
I think we've gotten direction. We're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this issue? All right, item number 20, consider and approve future events for city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution 2004-081. Anyone have anything?
I got a quick question, just for clarification purposes. Did we ever set a time for our strategic planning? Or I think you had said July, but did we, or June or July, did we ever set a time?
Is this the retreat?
Uh-huh.
I think I have it on my to-do list. The consultant was going to get back to me after the first of the year and discuss that. It was canceled because of Omicron.
Yes.
So, but yeah,
Just curious.
I'll be talking to him about that.
No problem.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Any further? Meeting adjourned. Oh.
So moved.
Okay, so moved. All those in favor?